And we should be live. Looks like we already got some folks here. Hello, everybody. All right. Awesome. Hello. All right, cool. How's everybody doing? Hello, Byron, the Major Payne and Robert, Doug, Glenn, Brandon, Peter. Nice to see everybody. Thanks for showing up a little bit early. All right. It's going to be a good night. It's going to be a good live stream, I think. I'm feeling good about it. Got some stuff to talk about. Hello, Mezzed Up One and Cobra Island. Hi, Glenn. Yeah, the COPPA Cabana. We got to talk a little bit about COPPA, although I'm still working on my final statement about it, so I can talk about it a little bit, but some things will have to wait. I'm still checking on a couple things, but we're getting close. Hello, Duke45. Hi, Kevin and Beta Ray Bob. Hi, Sparkster. Nice to see you. Bradley Good. Thanks for making it to another live stream. Yeah, so there's a lot of misinformation out there about COPPA, and there's also some accurate information out there. And I am trying to not be a source of misinformation, so I'm being very cautious about what I say. Hello, Eric. Crimson Entertainment, how do you do? Hello, SB Hughes. Yeah, it's all going to come down to the regulators, and we'll spend a little time talking about COPPA. Let's say hello to everybody first. Hello, John Carling. Jang Bricks is one of those videos that I think is not entirely accurate. Here's the thing. Okay, let's go ahead and start talking about this now, because it's the topic that will be on everybody's mind. A lot of YouTube channels are getting a lot of views right now by making videos about COPPA, and the accuracy of those videos is all over the map. So just take everything with a grain of salt. Don't learn everything from YouTube. And everybody just slow down just a minute here. Let's pump the brakes just a minute. And let's try to address this logically and make sure that we are as accurate as possible, because it's an important topic. It's a topic that could affect some people's livelihoods. So, yeah, it matters. I would really like to get more into it. I just want to be careful how much I say, and there are a couple unanswered questions that I have. I can tell you a little bit about what I've done so far. First of all, I looked at the law. I looked at the statute. I looked at the surrounding regulations that have been promulgated under the statute. I've looked at everything that the FTC has to say about it, all of their public statements, the complaint against YouTube, the settlement agreement, lots of these documentations. I've looked at what YouTube has to say about it. YouTube did put out a video about it. Since this is outside of my area of expertise. I reached out to some friends who I thought might have more experience or just would in general have more knowledge about federal rules. So I talked to a friend who's a lawyer, and that friend looked at the rule and looked at the information and gave me his opinion about it. He also recommended somebody else that may be able to take a second look at it, so I've contacted a second lawyer about it. And so I'm pretty much forming, what my opinion will be about it, and I think I'm going to be pretty accurate there. I think I fixed that. So I'm not just shooting from the hip here. I'm not getting all my information from YouTube videos about it. And here's the thing about YouTube videos: for the most part, if somebody's going to make a YouTube video about this COPPA issue, it will tend to be alarmist, because scaring people gets a lot of views, right? And ironically, most of those videos are monetized. So they kind of have an incentive to scare people. Now, that's not to say that some people shouldn't be scared. There are some people, some channels on YouTube that should be worried, especially if they are blurring the line between adult content and children's content. They shouldn't expect to get the benefit of the doubt. If they're making videos that really kind of are for kids, but they're not really labeled as such, then yeah, they should be worried. But the thing is, COPPA is not new. COPPA has been around for a long time, and the updates to COPPA have been around since 2013. So this isn't new. This law is not new. What's new is YouTube got busted violating the law, violating the regulation, and so now we have to deal with it. So, YouTube can flag your videos based on the title of the video itself. Doesn't matter what the content is. Well, see, that's not entirely true either. The YouTube is using an algorithm that looks at a number of factors, and the FTC is going to use their own method, which my understanding is not going to be an algorithm, but they are going to review the platform, and they will be applying the factors in the regulation. So it's not time to panic yet, but that's also not to say that there's no risk at all. So even though right now I still think the risk to this channel and other channels like it is small, that does not mean that the risk is zero. So I have to... what I'm doing is I'm talking with Susan. We're talking about how much risk are we willing to take with the channel, and what to do if for some reason a regulator disagrees with my assessment and my good faith reading of the rules, that my content is not for kids, it's not kid attractive, and there should be no violation here. What happens if a regulator disagrees? How much are we willing to fight that? So that's what I wanted to discuss with Susan before I make a final statement. And I will be making a statement. I'm just kind of piecing it together right now. I will say this, though. If you have a YouTube channel and you are worried about it, if you are unsure if your content is directed at kids or not, or if you just aren't willing to take any risk at all, then my suggestion would be to simply mark all of your channels as for kids. Now, if you do that, it'll be hard for anybody to see your videos, but by marking them for kids, you will not get YouTube will not be collecting the personal information that they use to target ads. And that's the real issue. The real issue is not whether a video is appropriate for kids or not. The question is a video directed at children, and is that video getting personal information from that child without the parent's permission, which is then used to target ads to that child? That's what the real question is. So if you're just doing videos for fun, you don't care about building an audience or a brand, if that's not important to you, then just mark your videos, mark your whole channel as for kids, and you will not, your videos will not get personal information in violation of the statute. It's beer. Thanks for asking. But as for what I'm going to do on my channel, my intention is to continue making videos as usual. There may be some changes just to eliminate any kind of gray area. Although I don't think my channel even falls into any gray area, but even if there is any, we can even make an even brighter line to avoid any question in the matter. But yeah, since the risk level is not zero, it may be small, but it's some number greater than zero. I just need to decide what I want to do in that eventuality. And yeah. Also, one thing that worries me a little bit is that some channels outside of the United States seem to think that they're immune, but their videos are published in the United States through YouTube, and so the statute applies to those videos. Now, I don't know what the FTC's enforcement would be against somebody violating the statute outside the United States, but those videos the statute does apply to those videos, and even if you don't end up getting fined, you could still have them pulled from YouTube. Hello, Transformers and Video Games. Nice to see you. So, yeah, I've said very little about it, and I'm saying a little bit more tonight, but I'm still kind of withholding some things because I want to be accurate. I want to be cautious. I do not want to spread more misinformation about the COPPA issue. I don't want to unnecessarily alarm people. I also don't want people to think that they are out of the woods if they are not. So that's what I'm going to do. I would also point out that I am not your lawyer. I may be a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer, so I cannot give you legal advice. You have to decide for yourself what you're going to do. But like I said, if the risk is just too great for you, then just make sure that personal information isn't gathered on your videos. And if you mark them as for children, that personal information should not be so gathered. Yeah, Mecca, the issue is partially YouTube, but I mean, YouTube got punished for that. The issue isn't so much YouTube, though. This issue is the FTC and their enforcement of COPPA. That's a federal statute, and the FTC is charged with enforcing that and promulgating rules to enforce it. So, everybody's just kind of doing their job here. And if everybody does their job correctly, then for a channel like mine, it should be no problem. We just got to make sure that people are doing their job correctly. And again, I am trying to not excessively alarm people, and I'm also trying to not say more than I'm comfortable saying here this evening, because I am trying to not spread more disinformation. So let's everybody calm down. Everybody pump the brakes a bit. Everybody just settle down, Beavis. We will proceed reasonably and cautiously. Renegade Biker says, do any of your videos use AdSense account? Yes. All of the ad revenue that I get from YouTube goes through AdSense. That's how you get it. But that doesn't account for a lot. I don't get a lot from AdSense, and this is a reality. If you want to make money on YouTube, this is one reason why a lot of people have Patreon accounts, is that, compared to the amount of views you get, you don't really get a lot of ad revenue per video. So, I get some ad revenue, but it's not the ad revenue I'm worried about. I mean, if I cut off the ad revenue, I wouldn't care about that. But the question is, am I going to be in violation of the law, and will I be fined by the FTC for it? Hello, McDowell. Nice to see you. So that's the real concern, not the money. The money's not big enough to be that concerned about it. So on the other hand, I kind of don't want to. If I were to label my content as for children, I feel like that would be falsely labeling it. People have talked about a fine of like $42,000 per offense. That's like the maximum fine, though. If you are running a small YouTube channel, the fine, if you got a fine, it would be based on some kind of a multiplier of your of the revenue that you got from that video, which for most of us is not very much. So it's that $42,000. That's the top end that they can fine, but that's not that would not be applicable to what I do. That number would not. That's not something that would be levied on my channel. My channel does not get that much revenue. But that's another thing that everybody, I wish, would kind of calm down a little bit about. Yes, the FTC is able to fine up to slightly over $42,000 per offense, but again, that's the top end. That also, the enforcement mechanism for COPPA looks like it would be a civil suit. Basically, they would sue you in civil court, and that comes with all of the process, all of the due process that a civil suit would have. It would not be a matter of just like getting a bill in the mail for $42,000. So it's not quite that simple. So these are things that I'm thinking about. Oh, Brett sends a super chat. What do you think of this status of Image/Devil's Due G.I. Joe Declassified number 1 through 3 and Frontline number 1 through 4? It is disavowed with the rest or part of. Oh, is it disavowed with the rest or part of the Hama story? First of all, I have not read the Devil's Due series or the Image series, so I can't comment on the content of that. But to my knowledge, Larry does not follow those stories or use those story elements. So that's the best I could give you on that answer. I'm sorry, that's probably not the kind of answer that you were hoping for, but I don't know enough about it to say much more than that. Hey, it's Comics with Bueller. Hello. Yes, a lot to think about. And I've been getting a lot of questions, and I want to answer those questions, but I want to answer those questions correctly and not spread more misinformation. If we can talk about G.I. Joe, thank you, by the way, to Brett for getting us talking about G.I. Joe again. We should probably talk about G.I. Joe a little bit in this G.I. Joe live stream. Let's see. Larry wrote those issues, and they take place directly before or after the Marvel run. And that I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if the IDW continuity continues that or not. There are people who would know, who regularly frequent the live chat, but I apologize for not having an answer for that. I've heard mixed reviews on the new G.I. Joe comic, and I just haven't had time to read it, so I can't pass judgment on it myself. Some people whose opinion that I trust have really enjoyed it, and then other people whose opinion I also trust have not enjoyed it. So I don't know. I really don't know what to think about it. But I can't judge it because I haven't read it myself, and I just haven't had time to. I gotta tell you guys, my life has gotten really crazy. With work is much busier. I've had, as far as the channel goes, I've had to cut some things back. I've been basically only doing the regular reviews and the live stream because that's all I've had time to do. In fact, one of the reasons I'm really happy to do the live stream is that it gives me a chance to sit down for a little while and just relax for a minute and talk with you guys. It's been really crazy. The comic book reviews, I haven't been able to pick up the comic book reviews again. I don't know when I will have a chance to do that, but it's just been very busy. And I've apologized to people recently for not getting back to their emails and their private messages. I apologize again. I know I'm having a hard time. Which figure has the most realistic file card? That's a good question. There's a lot of real-world references and a lot of file cards, but which one has the most realistic? You have that's hard to say, but not so much. Not just. I think there are too many choices. And it depends on how you measure such things. On the one hand, the Joe Colton file card has a lot of real-world references in it, so that's pretty realistic. But also, he's almost like a superhero, like an indestructible super soldier, and that's maybe not as realistic. So I don't know. That kind of balances out. So yeah. Right next to me over here, I have stuff set up for the next review, and if I'm not too tired this evening, my plan is to start recording. And then there is a poll going on Patreon right now. It's a super secret poll. I can't tell you what it is, but those of you who are on Patreon, you can vote on that at right now. That's going on. Hello, Agnetha. Have you thought about where you could upload review videos if YouTube doesn't work out in the future? There are a couple possibilities, but as much as people have wanted there to be a good, viable alternative to YouTube, there just hasn't been. YouTube, for all of its flaws, is still the platform where most people are watching. So you know. So I have thought about it. None of the ideas that I've had so far seem like really good ideas, though. So I'm not sure exactly how that will work out. But my expectation is that we will be staying on YouTube and continuing to make content. Vimeo and Dailymotion, not good options. I honestly don't love either of those platforms. Just like the user interface for them, but that wouldn't be so much the issue for me. I just don't think that people would find the videos there. I just don't think that that the audience would follow me over there, and I would just get lost. So then I'd have to rely on, like, posting things on Facebook, posting things on Twitter, and that doesn't always reach everybody. So this is a YouTube channel. It's designed to be a YouTube channel. That was always, the way it was set up from the very beginning. So it would be tough to not be on YouTube. Would the FTC regulations apply to a new platform if it got popular as well? Good question, Bradley. The YouTube regulations apply to every platform. It doesn't matter if it's big or small. The law is out there and it applies generally. So moving to another platform does not get away from the regulation. You might dodge it for a minute, but that's not. It's not a way to protect yourself. It's the law. It's like it or not. It's the law. It's been the law for quite some time, and it's it applies to everybody. One thing that could you leave a message with a link on YouTube? Oh yeah, I could, and that's an alternative. Like if for some reason I had to mark the channel as for kids so that you couldn't search for it and you could not get subscription notifications for it. There are those alternatives, but man, it's hard to reach everybody that way. It's really hard. Dan and Diana says, what's the price for an average Joe figure? I would like to get back into them. That's a good question. Just a couple of years ago, I would say that a common figure went for about $15. Then it went up to common figure about $20. Now, like, the price of common figure is just going up. Right now, the prices are getting a little bit inflated. So I don't know. I may not necessarily be able to tell you exactly how much right at this minute, the average common figure would be if you went to buy one, like on eBay or something. But I can tell you that it's getting more expensive because I'm still having to get some. My collection is not complete, so I'm still actively collecting, and it's getting more expensive. David says $7 to $20 loose. That's probably about right. $7 would definitely be on the low end, at least through the prices that I'm seeing. And $20 for, like, I'm talking about, like, not just the figure, but a complete figure with file card, that's what I look for. So let's see. Cobra Island says paying $15 to $45 per figure, and that is probably a range closer to what I'm seeing. So I agree with that. I can tell you, I can do a little bit of a show and tell. I did get one thing in today. I got another Pocket Patrol Pack, and I absolutely did not need this Pocket Patrol Pack, but it was fairly cheap, and it's the mail-away version with the different sticker on it. So I absolutely did not need it, but I wanted it, so I got it. So now I have, like, I don't know, like a bunch of Pocket Patrol Packs. of various kinds. So yeah, if Pocket Patrol packs were money, I would have some money. Byron says best price was 25 cents for vintage figures. That's amazing. I don't know where maybe you found that locally. I haven't run across any deals like that on eBay recently. Unless you're buying a lot of figures. If you buy figures in lots, it's usually less expensive per figure than if you buy them individually. Bad Ape would carry cigarettes in there. Well, I guess cigarettes would kind of fit. Like you couldn't fit like a whole pack, like fit the pack in there. But if you pulled the cigarettes out, you could put them in there, and they would fit in there. It's too small for a cigar. Well, I guess it could fit a shorter cigar, but it's too small for a Churchill. At the local thrift shop. Okay, well that makes sense. Yes, Brandon, now I can take all my G.I. Joes anywhere. I just put all these on my belt, and I don't know, can I fit my whole collection? Can I fit all my G.I. Joes in here? I think even back when this was released, I just thought I thought the Pocket Patrol pack was kind of a hokey thing, but I was nerd enough to wear the thing because hey, it has G.I. Joe on it, and it sort of kind of looks like an ammunition pouch, so that's kind of cool. And you can fit 3 figures in here. That's a pretty good deal. But it's a peculiar little piece of G.I. Joe history. Show up at Joe Fest wearing all my Pocket Patrol packs. That's a good idea. G.I. Joe coffins, yeah. Hello, Sir Reginald. Nice to see you. Yes, congratulations. You made it again. So this time I didn't have as much stuff for show and tell. I really only had like this one new Pocket Patrol pack, and that's all I've gotten to this week. But it's been busy. It's been a busy week. Not a bad week. Not a bad week, but a busy week. Agnetha says, did you play with your Star Wars and G.I. Joes together when you were young? Well, sort of. I mean, I played with G.I. Joe. I didn't like... G.I. Joe did not show up in the Star Wars universe. However, when I was playing G.I. Joe, sometimes I would need, like, more enemy troops or, like, some kind of a civilian character. And so I would use Star Wars figures for that. But, like, so I'd use a Han Solo, but it wasn't Han Solo. It was just the Han Solo figure, but I was using him as a different guy. Sir Reginald says, didn't someone make a floatable USS flag? Yeah, G.I. Joeberg did. Oh, Doug already beat me to it. Yes, G.I. Joeberg made a floating USS flag. Extremely courageous. I wouldn't have tried it. Cobra Island says paid $150 for an in-package Zorana figure. So like a carded, like a mint on card. I think that actually might be a pretty good deal. I mean, I don't collect mint on card figures. I have a few, but I don't actively collect them. So I don't know what the going rate is. But that sounds all right. Beta Ray Bob says, we used to have battles of my G.I. Joes against my friend's Star Wars figures. That's a cool idea, and that's a cool battle, unless, the Star Wars guys can use the Force, in which case, unfair advantage. Glenn says, my son used his Bionicles as aliens against his G.I. Joes and the creature from the Black Lagoon that came from Burger King. Oh, that's cool. But that's the kind of thing that a lot of kids did. As many G.I. Joe figures as there were, and we had a lot of them, sometimes you wanted to expand your play scenarios, and you didn't have specific figures for what you wanted to do, so you just have to use whatever you had or whatever you could find. A Burger King toy, if it works, you use it. And there were other military lines out there that helped a lot with like just extra characters or extra enemy. A lot of times for us they were extra bad guys, extra enemies. So like the core figures and the Sergeant Rock, all of those. That's what a lot of those ended up being. But those they were also mostly really cheap, so that actually helped us as well. And some of them would come like in multi-packs, so we just get a bunch of them, and they were just a bunch of extra guys. Jack says, does anyone remember the first 82 G.I. Joe commercial? Yes, I do remember that. But the first commercial I remember seeing was not the first commercial. The first commercial I remember seeing was the second commercial. WWJD85 says, I hope Timmer's charity drive is going well. Thank you for reminding me. I will plug that now. Timmer from Half the Battle is doing a charity drive. He does it every year. We are trying as a community to do things that help children, to do something that helps children. So it's almost Christmas time, perfect time to do something good for children. So if you want to participate and possibly win some G.I. Joe stuff, all you have to do is donate to a charity that benefits children. Send it to the email address that unfortunately I don't have handy right now, but it's in my most recent video. You can delete or block out any personal information. Just make sure you include the amount. And at the end of the month, you'll be put in a drawing and you can win some stuff. One of the things that I am donating, and I really wish I had it here handy, but I don't. But I am donating the Unmasked Commando Joe Fest exclusive from Scorched Earth Creations. That was given to me by Matt, by the guy who made it, and I did a brief review of it. And when it came time to do the charity, I thought the perfect thing to do with that figure is to do something that would help kids. For those of you that don't know, I am a lawyer. I work for our county public defender's office, and right now I'm working in our juvenile division. My job is literally to help kids, so it's very important to me, and I felt like that would be a great cause for that figure to go to. So do think about that. Timmer on Half the Battle has done videos about it. He has more information. I should have thought and had the email address handy right now, but if you haven't donated, and a lot of you guys are going to probably donate to charity anyway because it's the time of the year that a lot of people do that. If you're going to do that anyway, you might as well be entered in the drawing and maybe win something for it. So there's my plug. And Susan and I will be donating as well. Although we won't be in the drawing, I will ask to not be included in the drawing. I don't need to win anything. I especially don't need to win my own stuff. But we will be donating as well. Cobra Island says, I used the quarter machine slime as a renegade Dr. Mindbender against Joe and Cobra forces. That's interesting. What kind of Pokemon would quick kick one? I don't know. Somebody is okay. So I'm sorry, I missed something related to Green Yeti. So, I apologize. People are saying sorry to Green Yeti, and I missed what they were talking about. So I'm sorry I missed that, and I am sure I join with their sympathies. Brandon, thanks for pointing that out. Timmer's event ends at the end of the month, so you have until the end of November. End of November. Did I hear about the G.I. Joe raffle that was held on Facebook group and turned out to be fake? No, I did not hear about that. That's alarming. Yeah, that's not cool. That's man, I hate to hear about that. I mean, it's really hard to build trust in a community when there are people out there trying to scam people. And the guy just got off work. Welcome home, the guy. Kaylee Matthew Commendador says, any random thoughts on Disney Plus? Well, so far I like The Mandalorian. And also so far I haven't watched very much else because I've been too busy. One thing that's great about The Mandalorian is the episodes are not very long. And that's all I can handle right now. That's all I have time for. I can only consume entertainment in bite-sized chunks. And one thing that sucks about that is there's been a lot of good G.I. Joe stuff come out that I have not been able to watch. Form BX257 had a video that came out over the weekend, and it took a while for me to even get a chance to see it. New episode of G.I. Joeberg. I got to listen to some of it, but then I got interrupted, and I haven't been able to make it back to it. So I'm seeing all this really cool stuff made by content creators that I enjoy, and I've not had the time to actually watch it myself. Mike says, are you planning to see Star Wars Rise of Skywalker? Of course, I see all of them when they come out. Disney does not own G.I. Joe. Hasbro owns G.I. Joe. And Paramount is usually the company that distributes Hasbro movies. Let's see. Dead Duck 2.0 says, I'm sure you've said already, but what your takeaways on Des Moines and assembly required? Okay, good question. Des Moines and assembly required. First of all, this is my first time in Des Moines, Iowa, and it's a very nice city. It was not a big city. It was actually not as big as I was expecting, but it was easy to get around. The people were very nice, and so I've got a lot of good things to say about Des Moines. We enjoyed it. Good food there. Really cool. Assembly required was a lot of fun. A lot of the folks that I was able to see there, they are people that I normally only get to see at JoeCon or JoeFest. So it's really nice to see some of these folks, at something like more than once a year. Excuse me. So that was really nice. It was really nice to see everyone. Oh, and there's What's on Joe Mind. Hello, What's on Joe Mind. Thank you for joining. So it was really cool to catch up with everyone. I didn't buy a lot of stuff, but I mainly spent some time hanging out with people. I got to meet Ron Wagner, and Ron Wagner is one of, and maybe my number one favorite G.I. Joe artist, especially back, from that era. Kevin says McClunky. I know what you mean by that. And so I actually got to meet Ron Wagner and commission a drawing from him. So that was awesome. And I got to actually talk to him a bit and tell him how much I enjoy his work and tell him why I enjoy his work. That was awesome. And I got a picture of myself with Ron Wagner. That was amazing. So yeah, I had a lot of fun at Assembly Required. I have no idea if I'm going back next year or not. I would like to. It's fun. But I was glad I was able to go then. And go around Des Moines, which is a nice town. Yeah, so cool. What's on Joe Mind is in the house, and Kevin Maley is in the house too. So yeah, let's a couple collaborators right there. And what's on Joe Mind, I was just telling everyone that I've been so busy I've not been able to keep up with everybody's content. I am really hoping to catch up though. I'm behind on everything. What am I drinking? It's this beer that was recommended by a friend, and I don't recall the name of it. I'm just kind of drinking it to kind of finish it off. I gotta be truthful. I don't really like it. Yeah, I don't have it handy to tell you what the name of it is. Otherwise, I'd warn you away from it. But so yeah, I hate the waste beer. I just don't like to be wasteful. But this one I'm not enjoying too much. Why McClunky? It's bizarre. It is truly bizarre. But I have to admit that like these quirky things that were done to Star Wars in these changes, to me they're quite amusing. I read a story not long ago that Jon Favreau was saying that he's ready to do a second holiday special, and I'm like, I'm down. The first holiday special, one of the worst things ever made, but I also love it for that reason. And if they can make a second holiday special that reaches those heights, then I'm on board for it. Hey, there's Joe Berg. And happy birthday, Steven. I believe I said happy birthday on the Facebook, but happy birthday here as well. Yeah, so G.I. Joeberg, were you going to do a live stream after this one is done with? Were you still going to go live after we wrap up here? My plan, I think, is still to record video. I really should record video when I'm done here. Glenn says, are you doing a live stream next week? That's my plan. Unless there's some reason not to, like if I'm sick or something, or if there's just an event that I can't get around, I should do the live stream. And if I'm ever not going to do the live stream, I will let you know in advance. Yeah, so G.I. Joe Berg, if you'd like to join for a bit of festivities or just general chat, he'll be following here. So make sure you check out G.I. Joe Berg when this live stream wraps up in a little less than 15 minutes. Yes, thank you, Doug. Doug points out that he's listening to the original What's on Joe Mind podcasts. I recommend them. I've listened to all of them. Listening to today, Gary called out Chuck for not plugging the show. You do it much better. Yes. I think the plug the damn show has become more iconic. Yeah, so it's really awesome that you guys are here. Of course, I respect everyone who watches the show and enjoys the show and supports the channel. But in addition to that, I have some content creators in the live chat right now for whom I have a lot of respect for. So thank you guys for showing up. That means a lot to me. It'll be on a t-shirt once a certain co-host submits a design. That's a good idea. See, I will get that t-shirt. It'll sell at least one, and that'll be to me. Agnetha says, saw you got the Night Force hovercraft and it looks really cool. How much before more of Night Force figures and vehicles do you still have to collect to complete the Night Force set? A lot is the answer. I have not made a lot of headway on Night Force. In fact, hold on, I'm about to sneeze. Hold on. Excuse me. Back to your question. I have some of the figures. That's actually the first Night Force vehicle that I got. So I have a long way to go. And the cost of collecting Night Force is an impediment. That's one of the reasons why the Patreon is so important. There are some things that I would never be able to get without the help of patrons and the support of the channel. We were talking a little while back about COPPA and how that might affect the ad revenue for the show. And although the ad revenue is less than Patreon, the ad revenue is still helpful. It's nothing to sneeze at, even though, that's not what I sneezed at just a moment ago. But again, the revenue is less important than just having the show and being able to reach the audience. Doug says, I'm in for a Plug the Damn Show t-shirt. Bring them to Joe Fest. It's a good plan. Good plan. Let's see. Also at Joe Fest, learned today that Michael French from Retro Blasting should be there next year. Also learned that Sergeant Slaughter should be back next year. So, the gang will all be there. And I will be expecting to hang out with some people after the show, get some drinks or whatnot. So, everybody try to make it out. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone. Matthew says, should we panic about the COPPA thing yet? Don't panic. Be cautious. Absolutely. Be cautious. But it's important not to panic. Green Yeti, did you have a chance to meet Michael last time? I can't remember if you did or not. I did. I got to hang out with Michael a bit. He's very nice. Sarge, yes. Sarge. I wanted to see if he would say slaughterize it for me on camera, but then when we actually met him, we got to talking about other things, and it didn't come to me in the moment. Crimson Entertainment gives his opinion about Disco. I think Disco is dead, dude. Man of Action says, we'll see you there. Let's get some beers. Yes, let's. I've said this before, and I want to reiterate that a lot of the same people go to Joe Fest that went to JoeCon, and a lot of the same people went to JoeCon year after year, and so there became a circle of friends. People knew each other. People were looking forward to seeing each other. But for somebody who is new, it can be a little bit intimidating because everybody knows everybody else, but nobody knows you. So if that's you, then I would encourage you to find my table, come up, talk to me, say hello to me. And after the show, I'm sure everybody will be getting together somewhere. And we'll hang out, we will hang out. You will have fun, and you will meet people at Joe Fest. Almost said JoeCon. Sorry, not JoeCon. You will meet people at Joe Fest, and one of the first people you should meet is me. Come and say hello. I should be easy to find. So we'll talk about G.I. Joe. We'll talk about stuff you like. We'll talk about stuff that's cool. But yeah, let's hang out. That's for me the most fun part. Byron's gonna go to JoeCon to find a wife. All right. Tell Joe Colton to hide. I believe she's spoken for. Sorry. Mike says, does anybody cosplay as Cobra at Joe Fest? Yes, definitely. They cosplay lots of different things. Cool, Doug. Look forward to seeing you there. Green Yeti, although, you're over 13, so, you're not going to get me in trouble with the federal government, is still too young to drink. So, you might have to wait a little while for that. You can come see me at the table, but no beers for you. Let's see. Maybe join you after the show if you do a meetup at a restaurant. Yeah, I keep trying to do that, and it never seems to quite work out. Like the logistics of it, mostly because I don't know where to go locally. Like what's a good restaurant to meet up at. But I'll try to do that next year. Find some place where we can get together for lunch or dinner or something and just hang out. Yes, and anybody who either can't or shouldn't drink, you can have a soda. That's also not very healthy. You can have a water. A filtered water. Beta Ray Bob, how many people cosplay as Chuckles at Joe Fest? Often, a couple do. Will does sometimes. And Mary Mercenary has a Chuckles cosplay that she does sometimes. So usually there are a couple of them. Matt says filtered water, yuck. Well, if you can have a beer, you have a beer. But I'm just saying, not everybody can have a beer. I'm trying to think of everybody's health. Glenn says Diet Coke or water for this diabetic. See, he shouldn't have a soda either, so he shouldn't have a Coke. He can have a Diet Coke or water. And I don't know what the water quality is in Augusta, so it's going to have to be filtered or bottled. I'm just looking out for you guys, looking out for your health. You're welcome. Cobra Island wants a Mountain Dew. We'll get him a Mountain Dew. Isn't Mountain Dew, isn't that like slang for moonshine? So Cobra Island wants some moonshine. I'm sure we can find some or make some. It tastes like gator. Byron says I drank radioactive isotopes today. That's tasty, man. That's delicious. I probably did too, but I didn't intend to. Root beer, cold beer, energy drinks. See, Bad Ape will have the energy drinks, and when we're all winding down and crashing, he'll still be going about 90 miles an hour. Grape soda and chocolate donuts. That's what we need. The hotel bar, somebody call in advance and tell them they got to have some grape soda and chocolate covered donuts. We got to have the special order. Sir Reginald says, I don't drink despite being way over 21, so we're good. See, not everybody does. Not everybody does. And I'm not saying that you should. And if alcohol is not for you, then you should not have any. And in fact, if you let me know that, hey, I shouldn't be drinking and I don't want to be drinking, I'll keep an eye on you. And if you are tempted, I will slap that drink right out of your hand. I'll do that for you. I will dive between you and the drink if you are tempted. Because I don't want anybody to do anything they don't want to do. Hey, wow, it's almost 8 o'clock, and so I can't go long because we're going to roll over into Joburg's live stream right after this one. So we've got like 2 minutes left, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. But FYI, everyone, G.I. Joburg was going to start their live stream as soon as this one is over, and this one will be over in about 1 minute. So thanks everyone for showing up. I really appreciate it. These live streams, again, mean a lot to me because, well, first of all, I get to see you guys. It's great to hang out with you guys. I just love talking with you, talking about G.I. Joe or anything else. But also, lately, it's my only opportunity to actually be able to sit down and relax for a minute So that has meant a lot to me. So thank you for that. But having said that, I'm going to wrap up. We will be doing this again next week. And you should get... Oh, yeah. Sorry. One bit of housekeeping. I posted elsewhere, but I don't know if everybody saw it. There won't be a new review on Sunday, but there will be a video. There will be a video go up, but it's not a regular review. I will be taking some time off here and there in the coming weeks because of the holidays coming up. But even on the off weeks, you should get a little something. Even if it's not a full review, I should have something for you. So, and that is the case for this coming Sunday. I apologize. I did post that, but I don't know if everybody saw it. So now you know. But now it's time to say good evening and then say hello to the very soon to start G.I. Joeberg live stream. So, good night, everyone. I will see you next week. And until then, remember something that you're supposed to remember, but I can't really remember what it was. So, thank you and good evening. And I will press this little button here to turn this thing off. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.